Hello and welcome back to the Let's Glow Show. It's Amanda Sweet, the Creative Fairy Godmother, and I help people get fly, make friends, and save the world through community. And on the Let's Glow Show, every single week we interview amazing creative entrepreneurs and figure out where their journey started and how they got the glow up that they have now. And so this week we have a very special guest, Miss Courtney Downey, the CEO and founder of Made in Metro.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you for coming. I know we've been talking about it. I'm like, your show's tomorrow. It's next week.
I know. It really snuck up on me too.
I know. We're all like, okay, it's in like a month or two. Like,
I know. I'm like, I got months before this. Nope, it's tomorrow.
Oh, we're doing it now? We're doing it now. Yes, we're doing it now. I love it.
So
Okay.
funny, yes.
So tell the beautiful world what you do.
So I started Made in Metro, which is a digital marketing agency 4.5 years ago. It was fall 2019 when I decided to take the big leap from working for someone else to deciding to start my own thing. And it's crazy to think that I'm coming up on my 5-year anniversary almost. But yeah, we've made it through COVID. Our first clients were in February 2020. So we had quite a rocky start, if you will, with the COVID pandemic. We did work with a ton of like restaurants and stuff. But digital marketing, all in all, it ended up being a blessing in disguise for me because everyone kind of realized during that period that they needed digital marketing and that without the internet, people don't really know what's going on anymore. So that's where we come in and we just help all different kinds of brands, whether you're a restaurant or a dentist office or a health magazine. We can help you do whatever you need to do on a digital or print design level.
I love it. And you're growing right now because I saw you're hiring new people.
We're hiring. We're in everything. Yep. I have an awesome team. It's Carly and McKenna. All women. We love that. So they're amazing. I don't know what I would do without them. And they're constantly inspiring me and coming up with new ideas so that we can grow and open the doors to new people. So it's been really, really awesome.
Okay, so why digital? Why digital? Why marketing? Why design? Like what got you here?
So I studied, first I went to Central after graduating high school. I actually went to CMU, which a lot of people think I'm a Spartan only, but that's not 100% true. I did go to Central for a year. And there I studied fashion, merchandising, and kind of realized within a semester, definitely by second semester, that it just wasn't the best fit for myself, and decided to take the switch and go transfer to Michigan State, where I pursued marketing. But then realized that was a little too businessy for me, and digital marketing when I was in college hadn't really started yet. It was just like the beginning of like the digital marketing phase. So there wasn't a designated degree or anything. So I actually ended up changing my major to journalism again. And I loved journalism. I got to study media marketing within that. So when I was in college, I was working with dozens of brands and I was doing the influencing thing on the side, trying to get myself out there and, promote other people's products and accessories. But I don't do too much of the influencer scene anymore. But in college, I was kind of stuck my senior year. I felt like I'd learned all this great stuff with graphic design and photography. I even took a class on how to record videos on an iPhone. So very cool, interesting classes that I was able to take there that were geared towards media marketing, not necessarily digital media marketing, but I kind of ended up turning it into that myself. My senior year, I met this blogger, this Detroit food blogger, if you will. And I met her through school, through a class. She was one of my professor's neighbors, I believe. And she had a food blog. She told us like all the apps she uses. And I was looking at my phone and I was like, oh my gosh, I have all of these apps. Yeah. I could do this. And her job seemed so interesting, just going around taking pictures of restaurants' food and getting paid for it. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. I could see myself doing that. So out of college, I've always been a foodie. I've always been a fashionista, but food resonates. I think I like food and fashion. Honestly, I can't say I like one or the other.
You need to get dressed every day. You need to eat every day. So
exactly. And one day I would love to turn what I currently have and make like a little fashion side brand or something, because it is still passion. But for whatever reason, I decided to go with a food blog and somehow brainstormed the name Made in Metro, because it reminds me of home, and I'm from Metro Detroit. So that's how the name Made in Metro was born. And then that blog actually landed me my first job at a digital marketing agency in this area, actually Royal Oak area. So everything kind of lined up and got me out here, this area. And I worked at this other agency for about a year and a half. And really, I loved the work. Everything that I was doing was exactly what I wanted to do. It was just me there. So having even myself starting the company for a couple of years, it was just me. And when it's just you working on all these different accounts and all these different brands, it gets very exhausting. And, I never wanted to feel burnt out in an industry that I felt so passionate about. So I decided that at 23 years old, I was like, yep, I can do this. I got this. So I'm crazy, but and people definitely were like, good luck. But Did
you always want to be an entrepreneur where you're like, I got my sights set on this? Or because it sounds like you were like trying a couple things, in your degree, and then you got out of college. Was this like before college a thought, like I'm going to be an entrepreneur one day? Or was it like,
yes and no. Like, honestly, when I graduated, I completely thought that I was going to work for someone else, like, how the normal life is.
And put you down that
path. I had that mindset. But looking back at my life, when I was 11 years old, I started a jewelry company. And I know that sounds silly, like, oh my God, like 11 years old, like, no, probably wasn't that great, blah, blah, blah. Well, I got good at making jewelry. It was called
Pieces.
Oh, I could make any earring for you. I'd love to.
And just one, apparently, today.
Oh no.
So you started a jewelry business at 11.
I started a jewelry business. That was
giving it away.
My mom helped me with it. It was called Courtney's Jewelry. So it was just a nickname my dad gave me, and it just kind of stuck. But he would say he remembers, and I briefly remember a time before the jewelry company where I was planning out like a whole Courtney's mini mall. Like, I wanted a dozen shops.
Okay.
Not just one. So anyways, the jewelry company though lasted for about 5 years, and my mom would take me to craft shows and all of that. It was really awesome.
That's a big deal. That's not like small potatoes. Like I was slinging bracelets out of the back of the bus.
No, my mom is awesome. She's always pushed me, and she just wants everyone around her to succeed, and she'll help them do it. And she wanted me to succeed in that. So,
oh my gosh. like, that's a long time and a big commitment for such a young person. So like,
Yeah.
seeing you now, you're so young in such a beautiful way. Like you're like, oh, but I've been doing this since like I have a similar story, not a similar story, but like I feel like I started my entrepreneurial journey at like 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Not that I was doing entrepreneurial stuff. I was doing the opposite of what you were doing. I was like back of the bus, smoking a joint, getting in trouble. But that was like for me, like 11, 12 was like a very pivotal like moment for me and
Yep.
put me on a path to get me here, you know?
Yep.
So that 11, 12 years old like era, that's a big deal. And you also work with young women now too, I found out.
Yes.
A little
Yes. I am a Girl Scout troop leader now. So I don't have any kids or anything, but I've always liked to volunteer, and I was a Girl Scout back in the day. So I figured what a great opportunity to see some littles and hang out with some adorable little girls and teach them the ways.
Okay, what are they teaching you? Are they teaching you like any slang, any new ways? Like I'm
Oh
sure.
man, the way they dress, I am like, so I've been with this troop since they were in first grade. They will be in fourth grade this year. So that kills me because looking back at pictures from a couple years ago, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I did this to watch or to like, hang out with like little kids, not watch them grow up.
Oh my God.
But no, they are so awesome. They are very just like all over the place. So patience is definitely, they're teaching me all the patience. And it's just so funny because their clothes, like the styles they make for kids now are so close to what us like adults are wearing. So it's just like so confusing. Lots of like, takes you back a minute, but it's adorable and they're great.
Like little mini adults. They're like,
yeah, and it's so fun to like do kids activities and like relearn like all this stuff again.
I love that. That's so beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about the business a little bit. What was it like for you to get ready to hire your first employee? Because I feel like I met you when like you and Carly were already a duo when I met you. And so like I've always been curious about that. Like how did you know you were ready? And for those of us, a lot of the people watching, either are entrepreneurs or like working on a side hustle, working on their way out of the side hustle, making it the main hustle. So like I'm sure we're like that space that you were in where you were working corporate and transitioned out. But I'm curious about when you knew you're like, I can do this, I can hire someone.
Yeah. So for me, I also kind of getting an office and getting an employee went together. Wow. So the whole thing was like a big deal because I was working from home for like 2.5 years and I was getting so sick of it. And not only that, but I feel like people that work from home and have their own company could relate that it's really hard to put work down and make like time for yourself. So I was really, really, really struggling to make time for myself. And I had some like interns helping me, but I was kind of on their time basis and it wasn't, consistent. So I think it was like April 22. I was working about like 60 to 70 hour weeks. And I was like, yeah, I have to be done. Like this needs to stop because it's affecting my health and, everything else starts to freak out when you're working that much. Yeah. So, I think literally I took May and June to, interview people. And I did interview a lot of people because I wanted to make sure it was, a good fit. And I was only 25 at the time that I was doing this. So I was like, I don't even know if I'm qualified to like interview someone. Like, this is crazy. I am, but it's, like a whole learning curve, like, trying to do that. So it was a lot for me, but I actually ended up finding someone who started part-time, worked full-time. She was awesome. Unfortunately, she left to go take a higher paying job. Can't help that.
Right.
But then that led me to Carly. So the whole thing was just great. But yeah, getting that whole process of getting an employee to help me out. And I think I took like a vacation that summer after having her. And I just remember feeling like, oh, wow, I don't have to like look at my laptop every single day because like they've got this.
She's doing it.
Totally got this. Yep. So yeah, it's just been great. I definitely have a better like work-life balance now. I still take work home with me all the time and work late, but that's just something you got to do. And as long as you have a good balance, then anything's possible.
Love it. Was there like a formula? Like, how did you decide? You're like, I can afford this. Were you like, okay, I can give up all of these things and I can afford this? I'm just kind of curious about what the things were, because
for sure.
How can we, like we as in me or anybody watching, say like, okay, well maybe I can use, Courtney's style. Yeah. Everybody's got a little bit of different style, and like when they decide, and I'm kind of curious, like what was the things that you were like, okay, yes, I can do this.
Yep. No, our business did grow a lot. So in 2022, so 2020 and 2021 during the pandemic we were definitely in the beginning, like growing stages. 2022 so our clients are literally awesome. And I love that I can say this. We've started like the same people that started with us are still with us today. And most of our new clients are only here because they were referred to us by our current old clients.
Yeah.
So they really I was getting so many referrals in 2022 that it was like too much for me to, I couldn't handle it all myself anymore. Right. Also business was like coming in. So we have different clients on like different marketing plans. So there's like different tier levels. Yeah. So it's hard to say like, oh, I had, 15 clients and because they're all in different levels. So it's kind of hard to say that, but I did make sure I hit like a certain quota of clients and was bringing in a certain amount of, money per month to make sure that I could afford an office space and an employee. Which at that point I was definitely I was starting to get totally burnt out working way more than I wanted to. I was making a lot, but it wasn't worth it if I was, yeah. So, and that's another thing you just kind of have to when you hire someone, you're going to take that away from yourself, but that person is going to help you grow more and more. So I don't think it should be, don't look at it as a negative thing, because in the long run, it's only going to help you and make you more successful.
Yeah, it seems like it creates space for more mental capacity, more strategy, more visioning, more sales. You can, that's the conversation I feel like I've been having with people. Like, is it the chicken before the egg? Do you wait till you get the client before you hire the person, or do you get the person and then you can hire the client or get the client on? And I think it's a little bit of
right. Oh, 100%. And I always tell my clients, because there are a lot of agencies out there that will take on more clients than they can really handle. Sure. And I've experienced that. I don't want to do that with my company. I'm very passionate about that. Yeah. And I will tell people, if we are slammed for the month, sorry, we have a wait list that you can wait on to begin next month, because even if we have 3 clients coming in, they all want to start the same day, I kind of trickle them in so that we can give each one their personalized attention that they need.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of small business. It's not small business, but that's the beauty of what with an entrepreneur or someone that owns their own business, because it's just the hospitality is so much more important because they're passionate about the work that they're doing. And I'm curious, so from the digital marketing perspective, if I was like, you know, if I'm out here in the world doing my own thing, at what point, like, when would I need someone to do digital marketing for me? And like, what could I do on my own?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, there's a lot you can do on your own. When it starts to be too much, and I'll get into what you can do on your own in a minute. When it gets to be too much, though, is when you don't have a single hour to just like have free time for yourself. You're constantly working on your brand, because that, even though it's like a hobby, it's still work, and you're still on a screen. And my biggest thing, and I just went through a holistic journey too, is like limiting your screen time is like huge. So if you're someone who finds yourself just like constantly on a laptop or on your cell phone all day long, then you need to get out in nature. You need to make time for those things. So if you're not making time for yourself to, you know, cook and go on walks and all of that, then it's probably time to, you know, look into hiring someone to just help you out with the basic things. Yeah. And one of the easiest things, like, you can start doing yourself or have someone else do, is take professional pictures. I'm very, you know, into that. If something, aesthetics bring in views. So if something's not aesthetically pleasing, it's not going to perform as well. So you want to project yourself on any kind of digital marketing as professional, and you know, just, you want to look your realest self. You don't want a blurry picture, anything like that. And then the other things you can do are just be consistent, try to post a lot. If you're posting a few stories a day, you're doing great. If you're
what's the perfect amount? Like, I know there's not any perfect amount. It depends on what your goals are.
Yeah.
But like, I get this from a lot of people, like, how much should I be posting? Should I be posting every day? Should I be posting 3 times a day, 3 times a week? Like, there's no golden formula, but what do you suggest as a professional?
So I would suggest, if you really want to be consistent with your brand, I would suggest posting on your story morning, afternoon, and like evening time. If you're going to do just 3 times a day, and that's totally fine. That way you're in front of someone's face no matter what time, you know, they're kind of looking, and then you're hitting every part of the day. Yeah. I know some of my friends only go on social media in the mornings. Yeah. I typically go on at night. Yeah. And then there's people that go on maybe around lunchtime, scrolling through their phone or whatever at work. Yeah. So you just want to make sure for stories, they are time sensitive. So when you post a story, it's going to the front of people's feed on top. So unlike an Instagram post, the algorithm has changed now with, like, if I posted something right now, it might not go to the front of your feed until someone else that you know likes my post or something. It's the weirdest thing.
It is weird.
So posts aren't as important now. They used to be on like what time to post, just because it's not necessarily going to get in people's faces at that time anyways.
Right.
So it's better, like, if you ever look on your Instagram app, I know you're a creator on there, so you can see what times like your audience is most active and stuff.
And it used to be so different. Like, I remember there's an era, you probably remember the era of Instagram where it was like Wednesdays at 5, Tuesdays at 7, and it was very like clear. I think at one point it just looked, now if I look at it, it's just Monday through Sunday all day long. There's no
it's like the graph.
I feel like my graph is just like blue all the way across, like all the time.
It's definitely more broad, and I think the algorithm honestly did contribute to that, because people are seeing your content that you posted. Let's say you posted something at 8 a.m., but most of your viewers are on from noon to 9. it's literally going to show noon to 9 as your most active hours. So
that's why I'm like, at this point, I post when I'm able to post, because I beat myself up. I'm like, I gotta post it on Wednesday at 5, because if I don't post it at 5, and like I used to think of it like a river. Like if it's down the river and you're on this side of the river and I post it on this side of the river, like you're never gonna see it. But now I'm just like, it's kind of like a whirlpool, and like if you're eventually it's gonna drown if you're in the ethos, it's
right.
It's an interesting game. And I'm kind of curious. I have a couple questions. One thing I want to touch when you said the holistic thing, but on this end, I started playing the Instagram game. As a creator, you have like all of these like badges you can earn.
Yes.
So I'm like, how can I just like play this game? But from the business perspective, like how important is social media versus website? Like what is the weight there?
I would say I would look. So your website is your hub for everyone to go to get, information. If they're going to your website, they're most likely coming to your restaurant or coming to your venue or whatever, your business, whoever you are.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep saying restaurant. I work with
That's okay.
Food on my mind all the time. But if you are, I'm so sorry, I lost my train of thought.
You're good. If they're coming to the website, they're probably going to come to the restaurant.
Yes, they're coming. They're interested in your business. Like they want to do something with you. If they look on your social media, though, most of the time, those are going to be new people coming to like check out the page, and they're looking at all, everything that you offer. Yeah. I like to think of social media as your portfolio of what you do.
Okay.
So, if you're a personal brand, then I want to see your authentic self on your social media. When I go to your website, I want to maybe like if you offer like courses or something or more information that I can't find on your social media. I guess more of like the facts and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I would definitely say social media is definitely more important right now than a website, or equally as important, because it is important to have a good website. For sure. You want to make sure your brand is consistent across everything. But being consistent on social media and proactive on it is definitely going to give you like the greatest results in terms of bringing in new people, customers, all of that.
I love that. And I like the analogy of it like being the first layer, kind of like driving by, like what's going on over there? What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you impress them, if you give a good impression on your digital marketing, they're going to click on your website and then they're going to go learn more. Yep. So typically it doesn't go the other way around, but we make websites too. So on our websites, we always make sure to include the Instagram grid. That way people that are going to the website still get to see the social media.
Yeah. I love it. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are. I've been having a lot of conversations lately. Like I had an amazing conversation with a wonderful leader in the community, but she was like, but I don't have a lot of followers. And we had this like long talk about like real life influence over like Instagram influence. And as a business, should I be worried about my follower count?
Not necessarily. I mean, it is great to have outreach and engagement. So, we make sure that we are engaging and following people all the time who we think would be interested in our brand. But we have, some like dentist office that it's very like, it's community based. Yeah. And they're not going to they're happy. They're not really trying to grow their business. If people see them on social media and they're like, oh, this looks like a great place. Well, they have all the tools to go there now. But they're not necessarily, just because you have 1 million followers doesn't mean you're putting out great content, or doesn't mean that all of those people are 100% invested in you. I know that I have a lot of people, you know, supporting me in my business. I think our follower count on our own digital marketing business page, I will say we did just start like really posting to it a couple months ago. But we only have 143 followers.
But you have all these clients that,
yeah,
I think this was the conversation that we were having. I was like, you have real world influence, you have clientele, you have an audience, you have XYZ, and she's over here concerned about her 400 followers. And I'm like, but that doesn't equal like what impact you're making in the world. And so I was just curious your perspective, and that makes me feel better. And I recently sat on a webinar that Demery Suan, who's the founder of Empower, posted about like media kits and stuff like that. And she was saying like nowadays it's a little bit more sexy to people the less followers you have, because at least when it comes to like getting an influencer program, that micro influencer is a lot more impactful, because those 140 followers are real humans versus like 1 million and half of them are bots. Because if you have 1 million people and you talk to them and only 20 people actually like see it, engage, click, and do the thing, versus 140 people who are like, oh, I see this and I'm clicking and I'm converting and those are 140 people that you actually know. Like,
yeah, I would say to that, like, look at your analytics every month and see what your performance was over the past 30 days. You want your reach and your impressions and all of that. You want those numbers to grow and your overall, you know, engagement. But, you know, if you're reaching way more people that are following you, who cares? Your posts are still getting out, you know, in front of everyone. And I was going to say something about, I'm very notorious for finding pages that have, let's say, 10,000 plus followers. And I'll start looking at their posts and their content, and I'm like, they have 10,000 followers, but they only got 23 likes on this photo. And then I know I'm like, oh, they bought followers to make it look like they had, you know, so many followers, because you can do that. And a lot of places do that.
And I just, it feels slimy.
It's not only is it like slimy, like if you want to do it, like go do it, but it's going to not make your analytics look good.
It doesn't.
It's just not. It's actually kind of going to make them look worse, because you're not necessarily going to reach any more people with like fake followers. Right. So, you know, you'll see the jump in followers, but then you're going to be like, well, how come nothing else is happening?
Engagement. Yes, exactly. Yeah. There was like an era where there was a lot of people in my social circle that were buying followers, and, you know, and it looked really sexy on paper, and it was like, yes, this is awesome. Like, good for you. But then their posts, it was like, I don't know if you ever had to be on like a post train. There was an era where I was like in a bunch of groups on Instagram where you know, you post a photo, you're like, I posted, and everybody in the group,
everyone goes and likes and comments. And
and it's like that felt a little bit better, because I was actually starting to develop relationships with these people. And it was
100%.
Like, we're all in this group. We all have like a mission to grow our Instagram following or whatever the case may be. But then I was like, I actually like really like you. Can we actually talk? Can we text? Can we like do a thing? Can we hang out? You know, like that for me is like bigger than anything. And so, but there was a point in my life where I like, should I do this? And then I would beat myself up. Like, I'm like, why do I not have as many followers as these people? And it didn't click. They're like, oh, they bought them. Like, but that's okay. Like, everybody has their way to get to where they want to go, and they have different goals and different reasons for needing to do that. But
for sure,
I'm like,
I remember being in high school and like totally freaking out, like, oh my God, my post didn't get this many likes. Like, I have to delete it, otherwise people are gonna like
that.
Look at me. Like,
No.
I don't know what I was thinking, but it's
Yeah.
so funny because I'm so opposite now. I actually have all my likes turned off. So I cannot see
That's
who
beautiful.
liked anything. I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't really like, I'm putting out content that I like now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, it's not, it shouldn't be about the like count. It shouldn't be about the follower count.
Yeah.
It should be just about your passion for doing whatever it is.
I love it. And I love that you said that because it's definitely that exists in the ethos. And I've had those thoughts too where I'm like, oh my God, nobody liked it, just delete it. And I literally made a post this morning that was like, who cares if they're not watching? Do it. Like, if you like it and this is like your shit, do it. Do it anyway. Who cares if nobody shows up? If you are enjoying it, that's why you should be doing it. But it definitely, like, Instagram has that kind of, it has that energy in it, within it, to kind of want you to get the validation.
Oh, it does. And I mean, today's day and age with all of the like influencers that we see, I do feel bad for young girls that are growing up in it because and we've been there. We know how it is to compare ourselves to other people online. But nowadays you see like 10-year-olds that look like 20-some-year-olds and you're like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
So, to that point, I think I like that more influencers, and I would recommend following, more just like authentic people who are silly and like to be funny online, but can also, give great tips and advice. But make sure you're, following the right people so that you're not looking at yourself less than what you are.
Okay, so you said something earlier. You said something, you went through this whole holistic experience. What was that? Tell me about it.
So last June, I started having some just major like digestive gut health issues. And my thyroid came back, like my numbers were, like high, which meant I was developing like hypothyroidism. So they were talking to me about going on like Synthroid and all this stuff. And I went to so many doctors to try to figure out what was going on with my, stomach problems. And basically was sent down a rabbit hole of being put on a bunch of different medications that did not work. And turned to my friend who was always posting about gut health and stuff with Nutrition Dynamic, this awesome company that I ended up going with. And in one meeting, they explained to me, your gut is off because your stress levels are high and it's pulling down on your thyroid. And I also have PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome. For those of you who don't know, I think it affects way more women than the ones that actually know about it. Yeah. I wouldn't have been diagnosed unless I had advocated for myself. But it's just a hormone imbalance, but hormones can really, really, really change and affect everything. So they were kind of working in a triangle to pull down my gut. So I started this holistic program that basically worked on healing my gut and like flushing out all the toxins and all of that. But this was not like, I did not have to drink, weird juices or anything like that. It was all through food and diet. There were some supplements, but it was all food. And I learned the concept food and medicine. I actually saw it brought to life. I within a week, I felt like my stomach was back to normal. And that was the first time in 6 months that I had felt that. And just 1 week of completely being clean, eating, it was just really crazy to see. And my stomach, with all the inflammation that I had been struggling with, was just going away, completely disappearing. And yeah, it was a really crazy journey. I did it for 6 months. Lots of meal prepping, lots of eating. I actually was eating 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. This is so much food. I'm not even hungry. I just
okay. Yeah.
But it was crazy because I was like, I had to test my blood sugars and hop on the scale every day, and everything was just like getting better and better. And then the crazy thing now is I'm off of all prescriptions. I'm off of my birth control. I was on metformin for PCOS. My blood sugars were actually on this program while still on metformin. My blood sugars were in the 30s every morning, which is like scary low. Okay. So I was taken off of metformin, and it took a while for them to like get normal. But that's a diabetic medication. It is used to treat PCOS, but why I wasn't, ever informed to like not test my blood sugars or, be on a diabetic medication for like over 2 years and not question if that was doing anything.
So I'm wondering if you advocated for yourself, because I feel like I know so many women, and like I'm in a similar, not in the same boat, but I also have PCOS. And I'm a lot older than you, and I feel like I know so many women in my life, young, my age and older, that won't go to the doctor, won't advocate for themselves. They'll just listen to the doctor. So like, how did you get like through that first barrier of like, oh, it's just this, just take this pill, because they'll just rush you out the door.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And before, like, I've always trusted my doctors. We were taught to trust our doctors and trust
They're an authority. Yeah, exactly.
And I, especially over the past year, I started losing a lot of faith in doctors. Like a couple years ago, I was like having insomnia. I could not sleep. I was very stressed out. This was about the time where I was like working like 70 or 60, 70 hour weeks before I had an employee. So I was just like freaking out. Sure. Yeah. And my doctor had prescribed me like Lexapro in college for like the same thing, but I only stayed on for like a few months and then like weaned off. I tried that again. She put me on the same thing, but then I was like, okay, like, I don't know if it's like really working anymore, so I can go off. And she'd be like, oh no, we'll just increase your dose. Well, they increased my dose every time I went back to get off. And to the point where like so this would have been 2023. I'd been on it for like almost a year at that point. I was on like the highest dose of Lexapro, which now I hear is like one of the worst ones you can be on. I don't remember like January through March. Like I really like do not remember. I like blacked out. Yeah. And I was sleeping through alarms. Like no matter how much sleep I got, I was just
still tired.
So tired. Wow. And it made me like actually like depressed and more anxious because I wasn't fulfilling what I needed to do every day. Right. So I actually ended up talking to a pharmacist and I got off it myself. And then after that, I was always like a little cautious about going to the doctor for any problem because I kind of knew that it was going to be another pill handed to me and not like a solution. So yeah, when all my stomach things and all that started happening.
Oh, sorry, continue.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, I was just getting like literally thrown like medications and it was making me actually like worse and sicker. And even I just went for my physical a few weeks ago. My doctor knows that I am off of like all my prescriptions. And you see me almost every day, Amanda. And like, I definitely like everyone breaks out. Everyone, everyone has bad skin days. I must have had like maybe like a pimple or two walking into her office. And she was like, oh, let me prescribe you some acne medication. And then my coach looked it up and she was like, it's an antibiotic. Why is she prescribing? It's like totally like all chemicals. Like, yeah. She's like, please don't take that. We just worked so hard to clear your body of all
your body's
like toxins.
Yes.
And she's like, you don't even have acne. And I'm like, I know. Like, I don't understand.
Oh my God.
So like, I don't know if my story will help anyone, but really, like, I would not also, like, 6 years ago when I was diagnosed with PCOS, I came to the doctor and I was like, I've looked it up, I've done research. I either have PCOS or endometriosis. They asked me, are you in pain? I was like, no. They're like, okay, it's probably not that. But they didn't want to do a blood test on me right away either because I didn't fit the like criteria for PCOS, which speaking, yes.
Like,
yes.
Like, and when I walked into the doctor, I have so many of these stories because I'm going also through this holistic nutrition experience right now. And it's amazing. And it's crazy because like all these diet pills, doctors, all these medications are selling you a quick fix. In reality, the quick fix is eating for your body, like eating healthy. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is working in a week. Stuff is working in a week.
It's like crazy. I never like, I really like, you know, you hear things, but until you really try, like, it's so simple.
Nothing compares to like feeling good and actually being like healthy at the core instead of just covering and masking it with a pill or something like that.
100%.
Same thing. Like so in my case, I was like, why am I not getting pregnant? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can I not? I went into my OB and they were just like, oh, well, you have PCOS. And I'm like, how do you know that? They're like, that was how the conversation went. Like, oh, you have this.
They didn't even test you before just telling you.
It was just like, oh, you have this.
Wow.
Like the way, like, so people with PCOS, some of the symptoms are larger bodies, like less, like I think it's insulin resistance, which makes it a little bit larger in the belly area, facial hair, acne, all of that stuff. So there's like irregular periods. So those are some of the things. And I wasn't having a period at the time. Later to find out it was because I was so stressed at the job that I had. Like that job was, the previous job was like so toxic. My hair was falling out. That was another thing.
Gosh.
My hair was falling out in chunks. I was not getting pregnant. I wasn't having a period. I was having all these issues. And I was like, what's wrong with me? And they're like, oh, you have PCOS. Like, it's obvious. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I don't even know what that means.
Oh my gosh.
This, and this. Take this. And it's weird. You know, I'm thinking about it now. Like, so I grew up I had childhood epilepsy. So I had seizures as a person. And I was on medication every single day. And I had glasses because I have a lazy eye, I had bifocal. So I had braces, glasses, epilepsy. So I'm like taking pills. I had like a triple threat. And my mom, love her to death, but she was like, you're my problem child. Like every other day, doctor for you, whether it's like the orthodontist or like the optometrist, or we were at an IST all the time. So my whole life, I was in and out of the doctors a lot. And once I turned, it's funny, in elementary school, I like broke my glasses in half and stopped wearing them and started using my eyes to I was just doing the test that the doctors would do. And I worked the muscle, like not everybody's capable of doing this, but I worked my muscle so that I can control, and I can feel it when my eye goes lazy. So I know how to snap it back.
I would never had any idea ever.
It's and my mom, and I might have told this story before on the show, but I've never told you. So every time my eye would go lazy when I was younger, because I had those thick boys, and she would be like, Mandy, your eyeball's going through the market. So I would just do I would do this. When I was younger, it took me 30 seconds to get my shit back together. But now I can just do it I can feel it coming and I can just fix it. But that was my first, I don't like this. I don't like this energy. But I was taking all this medication, all of my adolescence. I was a very angry kid. And now I'm wondering, was it the medication that I was on? Was it that did this? I'm having this moment right now. We're doing this right now.
Yeah.
But later on in life, as an adult, I am very averse to going to the doctors, and everything that they prescribe me, I'm kind of no, thank you. I just don't do it. I just don't I don't go get the prescription. And so after the PCOS, a year or two later, I started having extreme gout flare-ups, which is flare-ups. It's onset arthritis. my foot would swell like 3 times the size, and it would be unbearable to walk. I have a literal cane in my closet because it was happening every month. And I talked to my doctor, and he's like, most people only experience this once in their life, or they have it forever. And you're just going to have to deal with this. And my dad has it, and he takes a daily pill. And I was like, I don't want to be on another daily pill. I don't want to do it. And like, they're looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, okay, so what are you going to do? Go be healthy? And I'm like, well, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's crazy. They really don't like the holistic stuff. Doctors do not.
Not even just doctors, but like everybody around me. Like they're like, you're doing the hard. Why are you doing it so hard? You could just take a pill and fix it.
Yeah.
It could be over.
Yeah, because that's what we're trained to like think. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know Angela Buccellato, but she's also a member at Bamboo. And she was having gut problems too, like some serious gut problems. Mm-hmm. And she introduced me to her nutritionist. I've been working with Seema for over 9 months now, and I haven't had a flare-up since the beginning of this year.
That's amazing.
Every single month for a year. I stopped eating alcohol 4 years ago, stopped eating red meat 3 years ago, and nothing was working. And I was like, what do I have to do? And she's like, oh, you have to add stuff, like add good food, not just take out the bad stuff, but like, you know, now you're eating just like bread and cheese and meat, like add some vegetables. I was like, oh, I didn't know. But I at the time when I first started working with her, I didn't know anything about nutrition. I
thought I did, and everything I thought I knew, I basically like threw out the door.
I know nothing. And like her whole vibe is like, add to your diet, don't take away. Like I want you to add as much good stuff as you possibly can on top of the bacon, on top of the, like, if you're going to eat a snack, eat it right after you finish eating. Like if you're going to have cake with your dinner, eat it right after you're done, because it's a part of this whole cycle. And I'm just like, oh my God, I knew nothing about nutrition. And it's so much easier that, like, yes, taking a pill is easy, but like, is it the easiest thing? Or can I just eat some carrots and an apple and like, that's also easy.
You're so right though, because like you really don't know until you're on a pill what the side effects are. And like for myself, like that Lexapro that I was on, I mean, I wasn't blacked out the entire time I was on it, but like the last couple of months I was like, something's not right. Like I feel worse than I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
And I know like some friends, I didn't have a problem with like birth control, but being on birth control is putting your body in like a pre-menopausal state. So it's like it's not good for you. And that's something I learned on this holistic thing. But some of my friends always say that birth control made them so angry and so like mean. Like they just wanted to like rip someone's head off every day.
Yeah, that's so, and that was another thing. Like I used to beat myself up because I'm like, everybody around me is on birth control, and I never went on birth control. And I hear a lot about this. Like people are weaning themselves off of this birth control outside of their OB's advice because they just don't like who they are. And I can see the change, them coming back, the spark coming back. Like these hormones are a part of your body for a reason. And the whole thing with the gout, I'm like, my body is reacting to this food for a reason. Why would I just take a pill to hide it and continue eating the stuff that's making me hurt? Like, why don't
Who knows what else it's going to cause? Yeah.
Exactly. Like, so I give you kudos because it, from the outside in, like, there's a lot of barriers to entry to getting healthy. And there's a lot of like negative energy around, like, oh, you're going to be crunchy, like all this, like negative stereotypes, which is so weird. It's like, let me live. Like, I want to do it this way. Why is that? Like, and then when you're happy, like, oh, you're just with your dietitian, with your nutritionist, with your supplements.
I have noticed like a little, definitely some like stuck up like attitudes when it comes to like doing this. And yes, like, you know what, paying for healthy food every week, buying it is it is expensive, and like, you know, but
So it's eating out every day.
I'm not buying any junk food anymore. I'm not like going out to eat every other day. I'm like making up for all of that with just good food. And I don't know, I really feel like even like portion control, like I've learned so much with that I don't think it's really as expensive as people think it is. And you know what? I'm happy. I think there's a whole movement right now of like so many people realizing that, you know, hey, maybe the health system isn't doing their job in helping us get healthy. Maybe they're just like kind of putting a little band-aid over it.
We're taking an easy pill.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's very exciting to see like you. I didn't know you were on like a journey yourself, so that's awesome.
It's you know, I was very apprehensive to the whole meal prep thing. Like I was working with my nutritionist for months before I even started like actually doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there was a whole lot of mental stuff that I had to work through with her. Like I had to work through like why I was averse to diets, because I was put on diets as a young person like all the time, and it was like this lack mentality. There was a lot of blockages there. I was like, well, I'll never be the person that would ever meal prep. Like that is not me. I'll eat whatever I want. I'll do whatever I want. I'll eat the donuts when I want. And she's like, yeah, you can. So you can eat the donuts when you want. She's like, but also like you can also add to, like you can have an apple and avocado toast with the donut and get some healthy fats and some carbs, the healthy carbs and some protein.
Yes.
You can add that. I'm not telling you to take it away. So there was a lot of like mental and emotional work that we had to do before I could even get ready to start eating healthy. And I didn't even know that was an issue, but it was like, we had to work through, I'm still working through some of that stuff because it's all
same. Giving up, because like I had to give up dairy, and like I mean I had to give up a whole list, like gluten, dairy, wheat, soy, corn, alcohol. I definitely cheat on that. Alcohol, it's summertime. I've definitely cut back, and I don't drink every single day or anything like that. A couple days a week, but
there's so many more like mocktail options, alcohol options. Like I stopped drinking 4 years ago now. And
congrats, that's awesome.
I thought I was like, this is going to be the hardest thing ever. But one of the biggest triggers for gout is beer and alcohol. And so that was one of the first things I ever cut before I even got a nutritionist. And I was like, this is hard because I like to drink. I like to party. I've been partying and drinking since I was 12 years old. Okay. Like it's a long, like, you know, we are that girl. Like that was like the persona that I was living in. I'm like, you see me, I'm double fisting. You see me, I'm double fisting and buying shots for everybody. And I was like, who am I if I'm not like a girl that goes out and parties? And there was a blockage there. I was like, I am like going to lose my identity if I stop drinking.
Yeah.
Like, this is who I am on the weekends. This is who I am when I'm not at work. I'm the party girl. And if I'm not drinking, I'm not the party girl anymore. And the craziest thing about that is I'm like looking at my life now post drinking. One, it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. And two, I am just as much fun at a party, and I could still go to the club and go to the bar and be the same energy without alcohol. And I was like, and I don't have to wake up hungover. Like, another round of applause for everybody. Let's go.
I try to do a sober January every year. I believe I cheated a couple days last year, but went into February.
Yeah.
But it's definitely good. It's good for you.
It's good. And it's not like, I feel like for me, it was like an identity thing. I was like, this is just who I am. And I realize now, even through all this meal prep and stuff, like identities can change and you could be moldable and flexible. Because I never thought I would be a meal prepper. I didn't even like, I was like, I'm not someone that cooks. I'm not domestic. I'm not a domesticated woman. I got money. I can go buy some food. I can go do this. Now I'm like, I get to cook. I got myself a cute little apron set.
Oh, cute.
I'm meal prepping every time. You know, I'm like,
you know, and it's like, I too, like, I never thought I'd meal prep. And I was like, oh my gosh, like another thing I have to do every every day for like 2 hours, stand in the kitchen, just what I want to do. But what I hate more than anything else is wasting food. And I feel like meal prepping helped me to not waste anything. My fridge was like the cleanest. I mean, I'm still doing it. It's like so clean. There's just like, you know, I love it. It's just Tupperware containers of stuff like ready to be eaten. And I know exactly, like, I'm eating it so quick every day that there's no room for waste. So,
and I'm eating, and it's like I'm not having this fight every day. Like, what should we eat for dinner? Like, it's ready, and then I have more time to enjoy my life, like go do a walk or something like that. I don't know if you saw the video, but there's like this older lady, and she's like, "Me and my husband go on fart walks every day after dinner, and it's good for your like it's you live longer." So every single day we're like fart walk, we're like fart walk, like. But it's, you know,
that's
it's
hilarious.
time because we're not like mulling over, like, what should we eat? What should we eat? No, not that, not that. We had that yesterday. We had that last week. And then you order, and then 45 minutes later it comes and you eat, and then you go to bed. Like, so much more life that we have time to live because the food's ready.
100%. I love it.
So we're on this journey together, and it's been
ma'am.
It's been a journey, but it's like so much more fun. And I have to say this, I feel like I know a lot of entrepreneurial women that are experiencing this. They're having some serious health problems that are related or correlated with stress. Like stress-related physical symptoms, whether it be like IBM or like diabetes or PCOS or hormonal stuff. And it happens to the women because we're carrying so much.
So all like, I know we're coming up on an hour here, so I don't want to take up too much time, but one of the things with this whole holistic thing was like stress. That was one of the main like things they test for, your cortisol levels. And like my thyroid level is like optimal now. I'm like perfect there, and I'm just on like a supplement. So instead of going on Synthroid, I'm on a thyroid supplement. And that's the, you know, it's like a vitamin basically. So that's great. But my stress levels are so high that they're still trying to pull that down. So that's something that's just like, honestly, like remained consistent. I'm sad to say, and I don't feel necessarily stressed out, but I'm one of those people that could have a bad day and like go smile and wave at people. So I don't know myself like that, I guess sometimes, but like is it a chemical that they're saying is too high that is like, it's my waking metformin, actually. I just got a Dutch test. I don't know if you've ever heard of a Dutch test. It very deeply tests your hormones and stress levels to see what exactly is like going on. I learned a lot about myself, and it's a urine test, but you do it at multiple different times of the day. So it tests your stress levels and stuff throughout the day, overnight, and all that. So it showed a lot. But one of the things my coach told me to do to help lower those cortisol levels was to get outside every morning within 10 to 15 minutes of waking up. So just being in nature and taking some deep breaths. Doesn't even have to be a walk. It could just be like sitting outside and reading a book for like 10, 15 minutes or however long you want. And then also you can look up adrenal cocktail. It's like orange juice, electrolytes. Sometimes there's some other stuff in there. But just like vitamins and, hydration to get you ready for the day. So I've been doing that the past couple weeks because my holistic thing just ended. So I'm trying to, stick with it and make sure I'm, still working on myself and all of that. But it's been great. I feel like today, like if you would have asked me to be up at 6:45 a.m. like a year ago, I would have been like, Amanda, could we do like 8 p.m.? But like I was like up and at it, and I just feel like more alive and awake in the morning. So I guess it's good.
That is great. I'm going to take it because in the back of my brain, I've been working on a better evening routine, but I've been thinking about a better morning routine. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I do? And now that I know that the first 10, 15 minutes of waking, I need to be outside, that is exactly what I'm going to be doing. So
and a good thing to do before bed, and like, okay, it's going to sound crazy, but cold water, cold showers are like really good for you. People do these like ice bath challenges. I'm sure you've seen.
Yep.
I can't do that. I will never do that.
But
I just cannot. I like, as soon as I get cold, like I'm like, no, I hate it. So I tried doing a cold shower. You're supposed to do that either for 2-minute cold shower, or my method is an ice pack on the back of your neck before bed for 20 minutes. And it really does feel good. And it has the same like effects. So,
and I love doing ice like facials. So maybe I'll try
yeah.
facial.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try all this, and I'm going to report back and let you know, because this is great. This is beautiful. I'm so proud of you. And I know it's like we're already over an hour. It happened so fast.
I know. It happened so fast.
So before we go, I have 2 more quick questions. So what advice do you have for our viewers, if anything? Just your last piece of advice.
All right. If I'm a dreamer, I'm sure all of you watching are dreamers because it's Amanda's Glow Show. So all I'm going to say is, if you have a dream, make sure to chase it. Don't wait. Just start doing it, even if it's piece by piece, even if it takes a few months to even get started. You'll look back at it and you'll be very proud that you at least tried in the long run. So, if you have a dream, just really like chase it, grasp it, run with it, and always believe in yourself, because over the years, it's been hard to, get lost. And even though I have so much support, it's, there's bad days, there's horrible things that, you don't expect. And whether that's, we've been rudely talked to by, random people online or whatever. Like, there's so many little things that can get you down. But just to keep pushing and going on, keep on keeping on, my grandma likes to say. So
I love that. Oh, you speak to my soul. I needed to hear this today. I needed the help talk too, because I'm like,
awesome.
It's getting a little wobbly. So I'm like, okay, let's snap it back. I got to report back. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so where can everybody find you and your business?
So everyone can find us online. Maiden Metro at Maiden Metro is our food blog. If you're a foodie and like to see what is new around Metro Detroit and elsewhere, or Maiden Metro Marketing is where you can find information on our digital marketing company.
Yay! Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that I do get to see you every day, because you are a ray of sunshine. Literally every time I see you, you're like, hi, good morning.
Aw, that's you. I very likewise. But thank you so much for having me. I've been really excited for this, and I just appreciate you. It's so great talking.
You too. I love you. I can't wait to see you. I won't see you today because I'm working virtual, but I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Yes. And thank you all for joining us today. Again, this is the Let's Glow Show, and every single Wednesday we talk to an amazing creative entrepreneur, and we will see you back next Wednesday. Again, it's Amanda Sweet, the Creative Fairy Godmother, and we'll see you on next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.